guys, I want to welcome you to the weekly Wednesday for the Financial Freedom newsletter, where every week, every Wednesday, we delve into something inspirational, motivational, something excerpt taken from the Financial Freedom weekly newsletter. Wherever you are, if you're listening on Spotify, on iTunes, Google, be sure to click the like, subscribe, share, comment. And without ado, let's get into the show. Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. And as you know, I've always been on the quest to find out what makes people extraordinary and why some people struggle, and came down to four different aspects. There's financial freedom, there's time freedom, there's location freedom, and then there's health freedom, mental clarity, emotional freedom. So once I figured out that secret sauce, I was on a quest to see people that were actually embodying that, getting their insights, putting into podcasts and sharing it. So today I have a special guest, Crystal O'Connor. She is a 3-time celebrity endorsed author, and she's the creator of Moxie, Entrepreneurial, and Moxie Media Solutions, with so many high ticket programs. She's been endorsed by Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank, and she teaches women and small business owners all over the world how to create 6- and 7-figure incomes by business strategies. So it's going to be a fascinating discussion, especially talking about AI, entrepreneurship, and what I'm really excited about this conversation. So Crystal, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so glad that I'm here. I'm honored.
Yeah. You're also a podcast host for the Rich, Fit, and Happy Show. Tell people about your origin story and we'll get started.
Sure. I started out as a teacher. I love to teach. And before that was in insurance. I feel like I am old enough now to have acquired a lot of different skills, but one of the things that I never saw myself doing, because it wasn't an option when I started out in education, is teaching adults. Teaching high school and middle school and even elementary school was what I went to school to learn, but I had no idea that I'd end up teaching more adults than kids. And here's the thing, I left because the salary didn't match up with the lifestyle that I wanted. And to be honest, I had 3 kids in a span of 2 years. They're now in their early 20s, but because of that, I didn't see that the math wasn't mathing. Me leaving my kids to be with other kids only to give the money to the daycare made no sense. So I wish that someone had told me, hey, what kind of lifestyle do you want? And then asked me what I wanted to do as a child and for a career. But I didn't know what the options were. So the options are changing. Oh my God, are they changing? And there is a revolution going on with AI. So it's making things easier, and it's disrupting a lot. When I say it's making things easier, it's making my job a little easier. It's helping me help others better, meaning they can use it for copywriting, and copy is a big deal online when you're running a business and trying to attract your ideal client. When it comes to how it's disrupting medical field, wow. So I just recently, I don't know if you've read it, but there's a book called The AI Revolution in Medicine by Isaac Cohen. It could be pronounced Cohen, but Cohen. And they did a little blip recently in The Insider, an article in The Insider. And in this book, he tests ChatGPT, the one that ChatGPT 4, which just came out in March, and which is the newest. See, things are changing so fast that it came out in November and there's already a 4 in March. Think about that. And so what is happening, and in his book, he describes it pretty good. What's happening is that ChatGPT 4 is able to diagnose, and they literally had ChatGPT 4 take license exams, and it was able to pass at 90%. So it got 90% accurate or correct. So that says a lot about it, about its accuracy. Then in the book, he describes a situation where he basically took an actual patient of his that he had already diagnosed years prior. But he used it as an example, and ChatGPT-4 was able to diagnose this. And I'm not a doctor myself, so ChatGPT-4 was able to diagnose a 1 out of 100,000 condition, congenital adrenal hyperplasia. Did I say that right, doctor?
Yeah, congenital adrenal hyperplasia.
Yeah, so ChatGPT-4, based on he did put enough information in, but he gave physical symptoms, he gave some information from the ultrasound and some hormone information. But still, with all of his many years that it took him to get to that ability to diagnose, this ChatGPT-4 was able to do it within seconds.
Yeah, it's amazing because it's almost like the infrastructure because like the internet, it was infrastructure for information, and now ChatGPT is going to be the infrastructure for knowledge. So now knowledge workers are at risk, because now if you're just going through routines, that can be all automated through AI, and in physical extension will be robots. So that's all going to be so. And it's quite interesting because if you look at like the specialties, for example, like radiology, 20 years ago, super competitive, smart people. Now it's goes unfilled every year because people are afraid of the AI and, pathology.
They're afraid of putting that much time and effort into something that could be
disrupted, and actually where you're just like basically taking patient information and then assimilating it and coming out with a diagnosis and treatment. Now ChatGPT can do that. So now physicians need to figure out a way to differentiate themselves, because otherwise everything is like salaries will go down, cost cutting. It's a huge problem. And it's not just medicine, but it's, others. Like now we can have like bus drivers, taxi drivers, now it's going to be automated. So it's going to be it's really a revolution. So, but you can be on the right side of it. So yeah, that's, that really,
it's coming. I've seen some people online share their opinion, and they don't want any part of it. And why would we want any part of this? Well, we might not want part of it, but that doesn't matter. Just like we might not have wanted smartphones, but it happened. It's going to happen either way. So do you want to win, or do you want to lose in the game of AI? Yeah. That's basically how I respond to people that say that. It's coming. It's a freight train, and it's coming. It's already here.
Yeah, you can either get on or basically get left behind. So, and I mean, I'm sure politicians, regulation, they're gonna, especially the establishment, they'll fight it. But eventually, like I said, technology always goes in one trend. So, and if you don't get it here, it's going to go elsewhere. So, yeah, it's, especially AI. And then how does AI fit into what you're doing now? Because you've really established yourself as an entrepreneur, helping female entrepreneurs. Tell more about that.
And men too. It was about 50-50 for quite a while. So when I started Moxie Entrepreneur, what I would do, and I came from TV advertising. So I was writing commercials, working with small business owners, helping them with marketing. And then I was always trying to find something that would give me more time with my kids, and of course, more money. For the lifestyle that I needed for my kids. And so that led me to getting my real estate license. And I did that because I went to a Robert Kiyosaki. I just got off of another podcast interview where I told this story. I almost never get tired of talking about it, though. I went to a Robert Kiyosaki weekend where I learned about real estate investing. And I thought, I'm going to do this. And so I started dabbling in it, and it just changed. Once you learn selling one to many, or you learn something that buys you time freedom, it's really hard to go back to working one-on-one and although one-on-one can be very fulfilling. When you earn that time and you have more time for yourself, which is why I started Rich, Fit, and Happy, which combines all three. you're better able to take care of yourself, your mind, your spirit, your body, all of it. Robert Kiyosaki event where I started thinking like a business owner and thinking like an investor changed everything for me. So I started Moxie Entrepreneur and thought that I was going to be teaching real estate. I started small business owners marketing because if you remember me saying that I came from TV advertising, I saw small business owners really struggle with paying for a 30-second ad, thousands of dollars, based on very limited proof. Nielsen ratings, Nielsen ratings are just handwritten. We would mail out, if you know anything about that, just mail out, and maybe even you as a consumer have seen them mail you $1 in the mail, and then you write down the TV shows that you watch. And so it's not real accurate. So what I saw online to me, because I was like, oh my God, you could do videos on YouTube and Facebook for free. So I was like, I'm going to teach small business owners basically advertise for themselves. And I started with teaching education-based marketing. And education-based marketing has always been one of the most effective marketing ways. So this podcast is a perfect example. They're being educated. And when somebody is educated by somebody else, that know, like, and trust that is so important. Know, like, and trust is built very fast. Whereas in TV advertising, we would say a person needs to see your 30-second commercial about 20 times before it gets into their mind. And then they start to buy, or, it basically is programming, which is the word programming means get into your head, right? So for years, we've been programmed and lied to. And, that's just the way the brains work. But education-based marketing is what I taught through Moxie Entrepreneur. I started with an anchor event. I called it an anchor event every week. And so we didn't have the live Zoom calls yet. So I would tell them to go to a phone number that I had to listen to my call. So it was all audio. It was a bridge line back then. And once a week I would do this call. The first call, I was so nervous. I was almost reading off of a paper. And I soon broke completely. Within a few weeks, I was done with the paper. And I was really, in order for them to get the phone number, by the way, they had to go to a opt-in page. And that opt-in page is something that I would teach. I would teach what to put on the opt-in page, how to attract your ideal client, have an anchor event, teach them, and then ask them what they want to learn more. And that is how I created my first program. And it's the funniest name. My first program that I sold for $6,000 was the Moxie Money Making Blueprint. Apparently, I liked alliteration. I learned that from TV. The brain remembers alliteration. So that's what I started. I started with a $6,000 product. I had people saying, why would you start with the $6,000 product? What gives you the right to charge $6,000? I was like, because I'm teaching something that is that valuable. Like they could replace their income in the first 60 days if they do what I tell them to do. So the value was there. And then I transitioned to a group program. And right now I am calling it the Rich, Fit, and Happy, because over a span of teaching my programs and the High Ticket Mastery program, I've learned that people need the mindset. Because a lot of what I was teaching was mindset, because I could tell people exactly what to do. And a lot of them won't do it. That was something that I had not experienced. I did not foresee that happening. And I thought, why aren't they doing it? I've given them the keys to the kingdom. Why don't they turn it? And I realized that we have a lot of mind blocks that prevent us, and a lot of fears that prevent us from moving forward. And not everybody wants to put themselves out there like this, Christopher, right? I mean, some people are just still afraid to get on camera. I was as well. I did it anyway. So what you want and desire has to be bigger than your fear. But I started helping them break through a lot of those fears and a lot of mindset tricks and a lot of reprogramming their mind and teaching. I really love Dr. Almond. I don't know if you listen to him and what he talks about, how he talks about the brain and reprogramming the brain, and how all of our brains have been programmed. We can reprogram. So then I started teaching that. So I started teaching that along with marketing and along with business strategy. data mining or building a large list to sell to, and then copywriting. There was all these many different pieces that I was teaching. Then I started going through what is called perimenopause. And I thought, what's happening? I'm gaining weight for the first time in my life. It must be stress. And I was online looking like, what is all this? What's going on with me? And I was just feeling a lot different just with age. You know, it happens. It mostly happens to Americans because we are eating a SAD diet, the SAD American diet. So that led me to nutrition. So I've incorporated that now as well. So yes, I say ideally women will get a lot out of my program because I incorporate hormone health, nutrition, as well as business. So there were times that when I really get into something, Christopher, I will sit for long periods of time, which I really don't like, but I was doing that too much. And I don't know if you've heard this, but sitting is the new smoking. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I've heard that.
And so I started teaching different habits to people that were going through my program and not letting themselves get too into what they were doing, that they were neglecting their diet or neglecting themselves. So I've incorporated all three, rich, fit, and happy part.
Yeah, very fascinating. And I'm sure a lot of people, like I said, you have a very interesting story about entrepreneurship. And I know we just touched the surface of it. How can people contact you and reach out to you and follow you?
Okay, so I'm on Instagram, the Crystal O'Connor, and O'Connor is O'Connor, not ER. Everyone wants to spell it ER. They can find me. I have a Facebook group that is the Rich, Fit, and Happy group. And I'm going to be spending more time in there teaching. And so they can go to that and then ask to join. And then richfit.com/freedom. And that is going to be, well, if it's not up already, it's a place, or you can sign up and get and learn from me and keep in contact with me about upcoming events that I have. And I am pairing up with a gal real shortly that you're just going to love, because she works with doctors and teaches. So I'm going to be incorporating a very extensive knowledge of hormone health for women. And I'm going to be pairing up with her so that we can even take it farther. So that we can feel absolutely 100% our best and kind of reverse aging, even though I think that's being thrown out there a lot and it's not even true. And that, of course, we're all aging, but we can still reverse about 10 years of damage that we've done to ourselves. So we're going to talk about that. If you go to richfitandhappy.com/freedom, that's where you'll learn more about that.
Yeah. And for all the audience out there, let's thank Crystal for coming onto the show. She also wrote a book, which will be in the links in the show notes. It's titled Unleash Your Moxie, A Girl's Guide to Becoming Fiercely Bold, Incredibly Happy, and Practically Superhuman, as well as follow her on all of her social media. And with that, thanks so much for coming onto the show.
Thank you, Christopher.
I hope you really enjoyed that wonderful, inspirational, motivational piece. Again, wherever you are listening, if you liked it, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. We're on everywhere: Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, Audible. And without much ado, be sure to thank this show's sponsors, and we'll see you next week.